It is one of the many parenting dilemmas that we face. Your child has so many teddy bears in their bedroom that there's no room for them to sleep. Does that sound familiar? Shelley Arnusch is a National Magazine Award-winning writer and is based in Calgary and has a brand new children's book, her first. It is called Many Teddies, and it's currently available through Chapters. Joins us this morning on the big board from Calgary. Good morning, Shelley. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Excellent. It's the story inspired by the daughter of a friend, but really could be any of us because it's a problem that many parents face.
That's true, actually. As you mentioned, a friend sent me a picture of her daughter, and there were so many stuffed animals and stuffies on her bed. She was actually sleeping on the floor next to the bed with a blanket. So I thought that was really hilarious, and that was kind of the seed of this book and where it all came from.
The book itself deals with the concept of sharing and giving, and reminds kids that sometimes when you give things away, you actually end up getting much more in return.
Yeah, what happens in the book is, because obviously it's gotten to a ridiculous state, all these teddy bears in the house, on her own accord, this little girl who's probably, 6, 7, she comes up with the idea to take a bunch of them to the park and give them away to other kids. And what happens in the end is that her mom kind of, just to reinforce that as a good thing, invites all those kids back to her house, and they have this big teddy bear picnic in the end. So she ends up making a bunch of new friends just because she was generous.
It's your debut offering as a child's artist. I'm sure that writing for kids is a little bit different than writing for the adult eyes that go through the magazines. Did you find any particular challenges along the way to bring it down to the kids' level?
You know what, it is definitely departure. As you mentioned, I am a magazine writer for the Red Point Group, so mainly Avenue, Calgary. I write for the WestJet magazine a lot. But one thing that I've noticed about kids' literature is that it's almost like writing a song. The way the words sound is just as important as the story themselves, or the story itself. So yeah, I think that was definitely the main departure. I mean, when you're writing for adults, it's less important that you kind of get a lyrical sound to the words.
Let's talk a little bit about your childhood. I'm sure you had a favorite stuffy growing up. What was it?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, as I mentioned, this was inspired by a friend's daughter, but there's definitely a lot of me in this little girl, too. I was totally enamored with all my... And I mean, it never got to the point where I was sleeping on the floor, but I had them all like piled on the bed, and there was this little space for me. And but my favorite out of all of them was this little brown teddy bear named Cuddles, and I still have Cuddles, and I don't think I'll ever give Cuddles away. Well,
much to my mother's chagrin, my favorite comfort growing up was a pair of green Y-front Gotch that I clung to my cheek and sucked my thumb until I was about 5. In fact, almost until I was 6 years old. So certainly very embarrassing. But thankfully, I hope you're not going to write a book about green Y-fronts.
You know what? I have not thought of that, but you've kind of planted something in me now. I mean, everyone's keeps asking me what my next children's book's going to be. So I mean, how can you go wrong with an idea like that?
Very good. Well, allow me to be your muse. Shelley, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Of course, the book is called Many Teddies, available through Chapters Bookstore, or you can get it online as well.